Here I am back at the 70 Chevelle SS 454 LS5 convertible. '70 Chevelle SS 454 convertible. It's been sitting a while. Original owner car. SS steering wheel with a 4-speed. Unfortunately, it's a complete rot box, but it still exists. So that's something that a lot of other cars don't have. Last registered in 1978. Oh man, this thing is just sad. I was able to pop the hood just a tiny little bit, and I saw that there's still a chrome valve cover 454 underneath the hood. If I could, and it had AC. I don't know enough about Chevys to see if the AC means it's a LS5 car, or I've never even seen a convertible 4-speed Chevelle SS with AC like this. He says it's an LS6, but I didn't think you could get it with these options. Here I am back at the 70 Chevelle SS 454 LS5 convertible. Been about a year. Nothing's really changed. Oh, geez, there's a cat. That scared the living crud out of me. It's been a while. Nothing's really changed. Other than there's a cat living in it now.
After shooting this car, I was fortunate enough to get in touch with the original owner who bought the car new, and he sent me these pictures of the car during its life, which is both good and bad. But I was also very fortunate that he typed out a 5-page history on the car, which I'll go through here page by page. He starts the letter with a life of a 70 SS 454 Chevelle that was signed out as a police interceptor. In December 1968, I went to Nadler's Chevrolet to trade in a 1966 Impala SS in Lake Mills, Wisconsin. This is where I got the 66 SS. Unfortunately, they wouldn't trade for a 1970 model year car because I needed the car for 2 more weeks and they would not know the value of it at that time. Shortly after that, I was drafted into the Army and on my way to Germany. I was asked what happens if I don't come back, and the dealer said, well, I broke a contract. Fortunately, he still has that original contract. In September of 1969, his brother mailed him a booklet on a 1970 Chevrolet Caprice. I didn't know that he planned on getting the Caprice for himself. He didn't like it. He then sent one on a 1970 Impala SS. That was better, but it didn't really work for him. So then the brother sent him all the booklets, and that's when he started to have fun. He saw the Chevelle booklet and liked it, but unfortunately the booklet he had no options in it. So then the brother mailed him a specially printed list of all the options he could get on the 1970 Chevelle. So the owner made a list, and unfortunately there was no color chart with that grouping, so he got the color chart and he liked the phantom blue, but it still wasn't exactly what he wanted. And he asked about a metallic paint and what would be a special order. And so if he was special ordering everything else, why not add on the paint? The one thing he did make clear though, he didn't want that little metal emblem on the back for the dealership. The dealer wasn't happy about it, so they kind of had back and forth about that. Also, what he didn't know was that his dad had signed a slip, signing it out, and for the brothers 454 Caprice, that the cars would be used as police interceptors by the town chairman. The dad had also had a slip for Class B fireworks up to 6 ounces of power for bird removal, and he had that slip in his pocket at all times. There's still probably some fireworks in the trunk. When the car arrived, the dealer was so ashamed he had it parked in the back corner of the shop. One day, he had no way to get home for lunch, so he took the car out with the top down. The shop was full when he got back, so he just left it on Main Street. And within 10 minutes, he had a crowd around the car, and he said he could have sold it 6 times in 30 minutes. After that, the car was washed every day and parked out front of the shop. While I was away, my brother finished paying for the car out of his pocket, which was nice of him. The car cost $7,000 new, when a standard car costs roughly $3,000 at the time. He got home on Friday in May of 1970, the last Friday, and I was all smiles when I got it, he said. One worker came out with a drill and the Nadler motor tag to say where he had bought it, and I told them I didn't want it on my car. The dealer growled at him. I told him if it went on the car, he would charge him a penny for every mile, to be paid every month for advertisement. He said, "What about the warranty?" And the owner said it was a GM warranty, not a dealership warranty. But he said he was the GM, but he didn't have to do labor. He really didn't care because the warranty was only for 20,000 miles or 2 years. So he wasn't really worried about it that much. Asking the dealer what the braking procedure was, like 25 miles per hour for a while, 35 miles per hour, and the dealer didn't know. So they went inside to talk to the main mechanic, who was also a local stock car driver. At this point, I really should clarify what he ordered. He had specifically ordered a 1970 Chevelle SS 454. Originally, he had ordered an LS6, but because he also ordered the convertible with air conditioning and a 4-speed, it was automatically knocked down to an LS5. So this is probably one of one. LS5 1970 Chevelle SS convertible with a 4-speed. And because he knew that this was a special engine, he knew it wasn't normal for break-in, and they said to the mechanic, "What do I need to do to break this car in?" And the red line was 5,200 on the tach. And the mechanic said, "What do you mean?" On a standard car, that's what you do. "What can this 454 take?" He said 7,000 RPM would be fine. But the tach went up to 7,500. Now, the gentleman hadn't driven a car in 18 months. So the first thing he did was he started it, went down the street, and took the car right to 7,000 RPM in first gear going through town. Next thing he knew, looking at the speedometer, he was doing 62. His eyes got real big and his mouth got wide open. He slammed on the brakes, not realizing that with the disc brakes, they worked very well. So he thought he'd take it easy, drove the speed limit all the way home, and, played with the car, learning all the little different knobs did and such. He almost immediately went to go pick up one of his girlfriends, and they were sitting at the local root beer stand in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. They were sitting at a picnic table, and then this old man and his wife in a Cadillac pulled in, and almost immediately ran into the car. And the car had not even been 2 hours old with him. He didn't have any registration, no plates, no insurance, nothing. So he told the old man that it was okay, that wouldn't be that big of a deal. That evening, the water pump went out, and he called the dealership, and a flatbed came and took it back to the shop. Monday, when he picked the car up, it made it 2 blocks, and the water pump went out again. They put on another water pump, but they put it on wrong. They tightened the bolts in a circle, and it cracked the housing. Then back to the shop. They put on a third water pump. They forgot to put antifreeze in it. Got home, and the water pump was out yet again. The car only had 600 miles by that point. He was so pissed off when he called the shop. He said, "Give me the water pump and I'll put it on myself. I want a heavy duty pump," and I had to bring the broken one to the shop. Not bad for having the cars for only 4 days, huh? He put the new water pump on, making sure that he did the opposite bolts eighth of a turn at a time, and that fixed the water pump. Now that the heavy-duty water pump was working, it started to break fan belts. He went to the speed shop and they told him he needed to run Gates wire fan belts, so he bought 3 of them. He got so good at changing them that he held the tools underneath the front seat and could change it in about 3 minutes. The first week he had the car, he went looking for insurance. He went to American Family and the agent asked about the car. He told him what car it was, and the agent said, "That's not a car, that's a jet." The insurance cost was going to be $1,200 a year, and that was with a clean driving record. So he went back to working at the local meat processing plant, making $3.78 an hour, which was not bad for that time. But he signed up for all the jobs he could earn extra money. He shoveled manure on Saturdays. He was asked to pull hides, even though he had no idea what it was doing. He did a lot of extra stuff to be able to afford the car. In June of 1970, traffic was backed up at a stoplight, and as he was crossing, a girl who must have been going like a bat out of heck hit him in the back passenger side core panel because he did not see her and so she must have been really moving. Kids named the car Mayflower because he used to have a mattress in the trunk, 2 cases of beer, and fireworks for some reason. As he was dating a girl from Marshall, Wisconsin, she got his car in the homecoming parade. Then the Waterloo Courier took a picture of them and put it in the newspaper. Then he broke up with her and he was with another new girlfriend, and she took the car to their homecoming parade, which they then took a picture of, and so it was in the Belleville newspaper as well. After working on the car, his cousin had taken the owner to a local farm boy, he says, who also ran a gas station. This was about the same time that the water pumps were going bad. The owner grumbled to the gas station attendant that the Muncie shifter was junk and he needed to get a Hurst shifter. Well, the attendant told him he could adjust the Muncie closer than the Hurst. So he went, got out of jack, made some adjustments, took the car down the road, came back, made a few more adjustments, yada yada yada. Was great. When the owner asked the attendant what he wanted, the attendant said it was just an honor to drive such a great car. The car came with rally rims, and the owner had them balanced at the local speed shop. And he would never take a tire that was more than 3/4 of an ounce off. One time he took it to the speed shop and they tried on 3 different tires before he had one that was in his spec. And after the warranty finally ran out, he put a set of Mickey Thompson tires on the back for going racing. Unfortunately, those lasted 2,000 miles. He went on to get a set of McGregor Roadstar tires that had 10.5-inch rubbers on the road in the fender wells at 8 pounds of pressure. Somebody didn't like the car, so they loosened the lug nuts on one side and destroyed a set of rally rims and the studs. After he ordered a new rim and put it on, the kid that fixed the rim put 32 pressures of air pressure in it. And the owner said the shop owner chewed a cigar all the time. And he argued with the kid that he only wanted 8 pounds of air pressure. The cigar, he said, was really getting chomped on, and the owner said to let all the air out till it feels flat to the hand. Back to the cigar, by that point not much was left to chomp on. The kid who was fixing the tire said the tire was flat now. The owner said to put a tire gauge on it, and it was 8 pounds roughly on the gauge. And by that point, the shop owner said to the owner of the Chevelle that he just taught him something about rubber on the road. Okay. The first clutch started slipping around 10,000 miles. Same cousin who took him to the um, gas station guy also worked at the Janesville car plant. He talked him through how to change the clutch. He sent him to buy tools because he couldn't use the cousins, and unfortunately that didn't work, and he blew first gear downshifting at too high an RPM. He went back to Janesville, and he gave him a dummy spline shaft, did all the work taking it out, washed it, yada yada yada. The cousin instructed him how to put it all back together, but it was too slow, and the cousin decided to go, what the heck? He grabbed it and put it all back together in about 15 minutes. Another thing he did when the warranty finally ran off was he put a 850 Holley double pumper on the 454. And he says that the engine sounded right at that point. And he went to a different speed shop because he liked the way the car sounded and asked what kind of mufflers he had to make it maybe a little bit better. Not sure. He said he had Mark II Continental mufflers. And he had to special order them because the car had 2 3/4 inch exhaust pipe. Once he put on the passenger side one, the motor sounded right and the pipes sounded right. The car could be heard 5 miles away. After that, he went to the paint shop and he wanted metal flake with glass and 12 coats of clear lacquer. The paint was 26 a pint. And he said, I'll take it, but just the blue. The shop masked off all the white, and the shop, I guess, did the work. And they said to him that they'll never do metal flake and glass again. In the first year of the car's life, he was on the way to the state fair, and he was almost there when oil smoke started pouring out of the driver's side. He stopped and he noticed that the oil dipstick holder had come out of the block. He put it back in and bought a case of oil, and he'd watch the oil gauge all the way home. He went through an entire case of oil just to get there. He went back to the shop that painted the car, and they said that it burned a hole in the right piston. And while they had it apart, I told them to plane the head. The car started with 13-to-1 compression because it was a cop car technically. It had the large drive shaft, and 63 amp alternator, and dual 2 3/4 exhaust. Now the car had so much compression that a regular starter would not turn the motor over. So he had to get a race starter. He had to pay an extra $60 for the copper windings. And now he had all the extra horsepower and the clutch could not take it. He put in a Zoom racing clutch with 26 springs, 180 foot-pounds on the pedal. If and when I drove it, I had to wait 2 hours to restart it because of the compression. The ex-wife's boyfriend tore out first gear on me. The government took away my leaded gas, being some premium gas, and the clutch was too much to handle in towns. It was a good car to train drivers to learn on. You could have a clutch all the way out and put the foot on the brake and take it down to 1 mile per hour. The motor would not die. I would sit there and just have it hemorrhaging. Okay. Right after the car was parked, the neighbor kids shot out the driver's window and he saw him do it. So what did he do? He moved it back to his brother's property and accidentally dropped a tree on it. Well, accidentally on purpose. So that is what the owner sent me after I documented the car the first time. You get an idea of the fun he had in the car, obviously. I'm not quite sure why the car was parked. I will hopefully find out here in the future, which I'll post on my social media. But yeah, that's definitely one heck of a life that this car has led. This single car was so inspiring to an individual that they actually did this artwork. And for the life of me, I cannot find the information on the artist. If they get in contact with me, I will put their credit in the description of this video and on the internet, on my social media.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed that video on the 70 Chevelle SS convertible. Isn't that something? I mean, the story, the history, And as I said earlier, it has been moved, and I don't know where. But the owner does follow me, so if there's any updates, I'll post about it in my social media. And this is the first video, technically, in the Subvember sweepstakes kind of thing. Not sweepstakes, but that for the next 4 weeks, every week, I'm going to be releasing a special car video. This week was the 70 Chevelle SS. Next week might be a Hemi Cuda in a backyard. Might be some Daytonas. Not quite sure. But every week I'll release a high quality car just to try to drive up traffic. So don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Subscribe is the key word there. But just got back from the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals meeting that we have right before the show, which will be in a little under 2 weeks. And from there, I'll be releasing a lot of cool stuff. So keep watching. Of course, I release a new video every Monday. So if you have any comments or questions, you can contact me through any of my social media down in the description, or just leave a comment in this video. Talk to y'all soon. Stay safe.